let's talk about how to create the perfect night of sleep. And this process is gonna have a lot of steps to it. You don't have to do all of these things necessarily, but the more of them you can do, the better the odds are that you're gonna have a great night of sleep. So building the perfect night of sleep starts first thing in the morning. Within the first hour or two, ideally right around the time of sunrise, it's great if you can get out and spend 20 to 30 minutes out in the early morning sun and actually get some of that sun in your eyes. You don't have to burn your eyes out, don't be crazy, but get a little bit of sunlight in your eyes. You know what this does? It signals certain receptors in your brain and says, this is the start of the day. And this is setting your circadian rhythm. And because of this, your body will say, okay, let's start approximately a 16-hour countdown timer that's going to run out around the time of night where we want to be going to sleep. And so this is a great trigger that starts that countdown so that in about 16 hours, you will start getting sleepy, or maybe a little before, maybe a little later, depends, people vary a little bit. But this is a great way to start every day. And in the morning, it's great if you can also do some light exercise. Don't go this is just, look, if you have your one time to work out in the day, you do what you can when you can, but it's best for sleep if you have light exercise early, maybe a bit of cardio, and then later in the day you go for more high intensity exercise, about 4 to 8 hours roughly before the time when you're planning to go to sleep. And this is gonna be the ideal strategy for optimizing sleep exercise-wise. There's two primary factors that make you tired at the right time of night when you should be going to sleep, ideally. One is called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is something in your brain that controls your circadian rhythm. We touched on that a little bit when we talked about getting out in the sun early in the day. And this would end up then secreting melatonin later on. Now, the other part is your adenosine receptors. As the day goes on, more and more adenosine builds up in the brain. And this causes you to get more and more tired when adenosine builds up. But if you have caffeine, like coming from coffee, for example, which is fine to have in the morning, but not too late in the day, not after 2 or 3 p.m. When you have caffeine, this blocks your adenosine receptors. So that element of tiredness you're not gonna feel until the caffeine is detoxified. Now, caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 7 hours. So it takes a long time for the body to get rid of it. If you're having coffee too late in the day, you still are gonna have a lot of caffeine blocking up those adenosine receptors in your brain, not allowing you to get properly tired. Now, what about wine, or what about cannabis? Not great. You may think that they're giving you a better sleep, but in fact, what laboratory sleep studies show is that they are simply making you unconscious to the fact that your sleep sucks. So your sleep is still bad, you're just not conscious to realize it because you've been, a part of your brain has been knocked out, but not the part that we need to be knocked out. CBD, however, does appear to be the exception to that and can be very helpful here. Now, in the evening, you want to start thinking about avoiding blue light as soon as the sun goes down. Why? Because where do you see the most blue during the day? Ideally, if you're spending time in nature, it's going to be in the sky. And so we see blue sky during the daytime. You get a lot of blue light exposure, and that signals to your body, it's daytime. It's time to be very present and awake and alert. Well, when you are looking at your computer at nighttime, when you're looking at your phone at nighttime, those are giving off a lot of blue light, or TV for that measure, or even lots of, especially like LED lighting in your house. It is giving off lots of blue light frequencies. And this is all suppressing melatonin production. It's telling your body it's still daytime, don't produce melatonin because we need to stay awake and alert. That gets everything all mixed up. So what can you do about this? Well, you ideally want to block at least some, if not all, blue light from your devices and from lights in your home at night. So how do you achieve this? Well, on your phone, there's two things you can do. One, obviously you have, most like iPhones, for example, and most laptops, like Apple laptops, have what's called night shift. PC computers have something similar as well, where they will turn the screen to a more orange hue in the evenings that will block a lot of the blue light, but not all of it, which is still helpful. But then on your phone, for example, you can go quite a bit further. And if you're on, I don't know how to do it on an Android, but I will put If you're on YouTube, I'll put a link up in the top here. If you are watching on Instagram, I'll put a link in here somewhere of how you can adjust the settings so that by tapping the side button on your phone 3 times, it will change your phone at night so it goes entirely to red and black. And then in the morning when you get up, you deactivate this and it goes back to fully normal colors. But then at night, in the evening, you switch it back to all red and black so you can, text and YouTube and whatever on your phone at night to your heart's content without suppressing your melatonin levels. You can also download a program for your computer called Flux, F.LUX. And most of the time I will just layer this over the top of the night shift mode to get kind of a extra strength. And that really gets it very, very orange. But if you want to go all out, they have a mode called Dark Room, where it turns everything like I did with the phone, just to red and black. Then you want to not have those like LED type blue lights or like white blue lights around your house at night. If you have incandescents, that's helpful. If you can set up some LEDs that you can change the colors so that they're red at night, like at nighttime, all the lighting around my desk is completely red. And this is great, but ideally you want to go all out. Like, you guys may say some of this is too much, who cares? Fine, you do however much of this you decide to, but I share it all with you so you can make that decision of what's best for you. If you can have ideally the light at night coming from a level below eye level, that's also ideal. You don't want it coming from up high. Why? Where do we get light coming from during the daytime? From up high. Where would we ancestrally only be seeing light at night? Okay, a little bit of the stars, a little bit of the moon, but what's way stronger than that? The firelight. And the fire would never be above eye level. So that is an important biological cue to be thinking about as well. So light plays a huge, huge role in this. And then have a regular routine in the evenings where you start to wind down, where you're not doing too much mentally stimulating stuff, not having big meals too late, because that's also really going to interfere with your sleep quality. And then in terms of herbs, my favorite here would of course be a combination of reishi and ashwagandha. If you wanted to add in a few more, I think hoshu wu and pearl powder could be really nice. You could also look at like a formulation like ginseng and ziziphus, which is a great traditional sleep formulation. But I would really recommend just starting with reishi and ashwagandha. Those two are a powerhouse. In terms of supplements, I'm a big fan of magnesium, specifically, well, two forms, right? You guys maybe hear me talk about this quite often. So you have magnesium glycinate, which is great for the body, but really we want to affect the brain here. So for the brain, we want to take magnesium L-threonate, a special kind of magnesium that is able to cross over the blood-brain barrier and actually raise brain levels of magnesium, which is very relaxing for the brain and for the whole nervous system. So that's pretty much it right there. Of course, don't drink water too late because you don't want to have to be getting up at night. But this is the complete strategy. Oh, wait, one more thing. So if you can take some form of heat in the evening before going to bed, it's really good because you want to cool your body down to fall asleep. That might sound weird, right? We just said heat the body up, but then we said we want to cool the body down. So which is it? Okay, well, it's a bit of both. So by heating the body up, by going in the sauna, by a hot bath, by a hot shower, you bring all the blood to the surface of your body. Then, after you brought the blood to the surface of your body, it's really ready to pick up whatever temperature of air you get exposed to next. So everybody knows as soon as you get out of a hot shower, the house seems a whole lot colder than it was before you got in. So that's the idea. You want to do that so that your blood goes to the surface, grabs the cold from the air, basically, metaphorically speaking, and then it recirculates that and is able to drop your core body temperature. It's also, if you find that the temperature is helpful like this as well, also really cool to check out something like the Ooler, O-O-L-E-R. And this is a mat that goes underneath where you sleep that circulates cooled water underneath you as you're sleeping. I have this, I enjoy it. It really helps me a lot, especially in the heat of the summer. And this helps get a much more deeper, restful sleep in the night. So, if you guys have ever done any of these things before and found any of them helpful, let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear what has worked for you. Or if something in here sounded particularly interesting to you, that you've never tried before, that you would like to try, let me know about that in the comments as well. I always love reading these. And while you're down there, do me a favor, please click that like button and give us some more good vibes by hitting subscribe and ringing that notification bell. It is so tremendously helpful to us for growing our channel, for growing our little family business, and it doesn't take you any money and just takes a couple seconds of your time. Thanks for joining me, you guys. Have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time.